You know how people say that sometimes it's better not to Google things? Well, I think this definitely applies to what I've done after a conversation that I had with a friend about why they dislike musical theater. It seems that there are people out there that dislike musical theater with passion. It's almost such a polarizing topic that, as a musical theater fan, I don't think that I understood it is that polarizing. So in this video, I'm gonna try and debunk some of the most commonly expressed frustrations about musical theater, and I'm not gonna try and convert you if you're not a fan, but I'm just gonna try and counteract that myth about musical theater. And if you're a musical theater fan, comment down below why you like musical theater and why you think people should give it a go. One of the most common reasons that people stated as disliking musical theater is when characters just break into a song when they can just speak the same words and it would convey the same meaning. And this is a really hard one to counteract because, as we all know, musicals are all about singing and dancing and acting all together. I will try and offer a slightly different approach to it because in most cases and in good musicals, the song is there to tell you something and to really bring the story to life in a way that maybe with speech wouldn't be possible. If you love movies, imagine how a movie would seem without a soundtrack. Music is such a powerful tool to convey the emotions and to just make you feel something, and sometimes that is not really possible to do with speech. And if a musical is well written, this song brings a whole additional layer to the character, and if it's a good song, it can really move you. If you can go to see a musical without thinking that you're going to dislike every song that you hear and you're going to be triggered by every moment when you see a character breaking into a song, and just try and listen to it, I think that it will give you a whole new way to see musical theater. I can imagine you're thinking now and saying, good chat, Christina, but what if the songs are really bad and I really don't like them? What do I do then? Well, this brings me to my point number 2, because a lot of people say that songs in musical theater are pretty bad and the storyline is naff and predictable. And I do think in some cases this could be true. There are definitely musicals that are more on that like cheesy side of things. But as any other art form, there is a variety of stories told and also a variety of ways that this is done in. Saying a blank statement that all songs and all storylines in musicals are bad is just simply not true, because there are some amazing masterpieces and some great legends such as Stephen Sondheim, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Cameron Mackintosh, Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't want to go and like say these names that maybe if you don't like musical theater don't mean much to you, but there are some giants of musical theater that are giants for a reason, because they really created pieces of art that are there to be admired, and they really contain the quality that is beyond genre. Doesn't matter that they're musicals. In some ways, I do agree that if you go to a musical that is maybe not the best musical, you might be put off for life. But luckily, there are so many musicals out there, so many acclaimed musicals, and if you really want to see the top of the game type of musicals, then I think you'd be surprised because songs are pretty good. And actually, when Hamilton's soundtrack was released, it was topping the charts for the best rap album on Spotify. So this goes to say that not all musicals are the same, and some of them will have a storyline that will resonate with you. You just need to find the right one. And then if you resonate with the story, then you're gonna probably find a lot of meaning and beauty in the songs in this musical as well. People also tend to mention that going to see musicals is expensive. This will vary depending on where you're located. I really think that when it comes to plays and musicals in London, you can find fairly affordable deals for £20-25. So there's a whole video about that you can check out. I'm not going to go into all different details. I do think that this depends where you're located, because I've done also a whole video about the West End and Broadway, and one of the major differences there that I spotted is that Broadway is actually much more expensive than the West End. So I appreciate if you're located in New York or like you're visiting New York that you might not be able to afford and spend $100 just to get into the theater. A lot of people people use the word cringe in describing how musical theater makes them feel. One of the reasons why they said this is because actors tend to overreact and everything is so cheesy and too positive. I think this is an argument that can be made for any play that you see, because when actors are on stage and they're projecting all the way to the back rows, there needs to be some overreaction involved in order for you to be able to see what they're trying to do. And yes, maybe musical theater is a little bit more prone to overreaction because there are songs, and some of these songs are requiring certain type of singing or certain type of dancing, which may make it a little bit over the top. But again, I think that a good musical is about balance between the two, and it's about just finding the right musical that sits well with you. If you find a story that resonates with you, then all of these tools that musical writers and producers are using, they're there to convey this story. So you will just naturally resonate with it because you are invested in it. I just think that not all musicals are cheesy, and definitely not all of them have that overreaction aspect that will make you cringe. It seems that in a lot of cases, musicals are also perceived to be the tourist thing to do, that, you know, when you go to New York, you're gonna go to Broadway, or when you come to London, you're gonna check out the West End. And there is definitely part of the audience who are tourists, but that is absolutely fine. This is just a confirmation that people come from around the world to see these things. So this is not something that is bad. If you happen to live in London, isn't it great that people from around the world come just to see the West End show? And then people also tend to say that musical theater fans are very loud or very into it. I think like with anything else, you will get super fans who are really enthusiastic, and you will get people who are somewhere in the middle, people who are going, for the first time to see musical theater. So there isn't one predominant vibe that you're gonna get when you go into the theater. And also there is a theater etiquette that applies to everyone: tourists, super fans, old people, young people, kids. Theater experience is something that should be consumed by everyone and comfortable for everyone. So I'm pretty sure that if you go to the West End to see a show that you like, you will forget about the audience and you will just focus on what's in front of you. It seems that the list why people dislike musical theater can go on, and I get it. Sometimes it's simply not your cup of tea, but I think that everything deserves a chance. It's like saying that you completely dislike one art form, and maybe it's not going to be your favorite art form, but I'm sure that you can find one musical that you really resonate with or you really like, and that will change your opinion about the whole musical theater experience. If I have inspired you in any way, give this video a thumbs up and check out some other videos on my channel that are about best musicals to see in London, because that can inspire you what you can go and watch.